is the Rosetta Stone. It was the key to understanding Egyptian hieroglyphics, and it is one of the most precious and valuable treasures of the British Museum.
So we have this very interesting interaction between these languages. We think that the text probably originally is a Greek text because to honor the pharaoh as a god.
It was the key to understanding a lost world. But when AI reanalyzed the Rosetta Stone, it found something historians wish it hadn't. For centuries, the Rosetta Stone has been our bridge to ancient Egypt, a linguistic miracle that decoded hieroglyphs and brought an entire civilization back to life. But now, AI technology has re-examined the inscriptions in ways no human ever could, detecting micro-patterns, erased carvings, and hidden layers of meaning beneath the surface.
The same text in 3 languages, hieroglyphics, Demotic, and most importantly, ancient Greek, which had never been forgotten.
What it revealed has left historians both fascinated and alarmed. Because this time, the story written on the Rosetta Stone might not be the one we thought we knew. Let's dive deep into the code of Egypt's greatest artifact and reveal what experts are too afraid to admit.
But translation wasn't easy. It took scholars 20 years to work it out because the stone is filled with jargon.
The Rosetta Stone. A quick refresher. Long before artificial intelligence ever entered the picture, the Rosetta Stone had already earned its place as one of the most important discoveries in human history. Unearthed in 1799 by French soldiers near the Egyptian town of Rosetta, this massive slab of granodiorite carried within it the bridge that reconnected modern civilization to ancient Egypt. Weighing over 760 kilograms, the stone wasn't just an archaeological artifact. It was the key that revived a silent language and allowed humanity to rediscover a forgotten world. For centuries, Egyptian hieroglyphs had been an impenetrable mystery, their meanings lost after the fall of the last temple, scribes around the 4th century A.D. The Rosetta Stone contained a decree issued in 196 B.C. during the reign of King Ptolemy V, but its real power lay in the way it was written. The same decree appeared in 3 scripts: Egyptian hieroglyphs at the top, Demotic script in the middle, and ancient Greek at the bottom. Scholars of the 19th century could already read Greek, which meant they finally had a reference point to begin decoding the hieroglyphs that adorned countless temples and tombs. This was the first time in modern history that the lost voice of ancient Egypt could be heard again. Through years of painstaking comparison, the French linguist Jean-François Champollion achieved what many thought impossible. In 1822, he realized that hieroglyphs were not merely decorative images. They represented a complex system combining phonetic sounds, symbols, and ideograms. His revelation opened the door to thousands of translations that illuminated the beliefs, rituals, and history of ancient Egypt. From that moment, the Rosetta Stone became the foundation upon which the entire study of Egyptology was built. For 2 centuries, this discovery was treated as a closed chapter, a solved riddle that had done its duty. But now, with the arrival of artificial intelligence capable of analyzing language and structure with microscopic precision, researchers are finding subtle patterns that human scholars might have missed. These new insights suggest that the story behind the Rosetta Stone may be more layered, deliberate, and complex than we ever realized. What began as a symbol of understanding may be opening up another mystery altogether. Why AI is looking at ancient texts now? The use of artificial intelligence in archaeology might sound futuristic, but it's actually a natural progression of human curiosity and technological innovation. AI has the ability to process massive amounts of data, identify hidden connections, and detect patterns invisible to the human eye. In the case of ancient texts, these capabilities have already transformed how scholars study long-lost languages. Unlike traditional methods that rely on human comparison and interpretation, AI can analyze millions of linguistic samples simultaneously, reconstructing meaning with precision that was once unimaginable. Around the world, researchers have been using AI to revisit ancient mysteries, Algorithms have helped reconstruct fragmented scrolls, translated incomplete tablets, and even predicted missing portions of ancient languages. Neural networks, modeled after human cognitive processes, can now detect subtle linguistic relationships, shifts in grammar, recurring structures, and symbolic patterns that scholars may have overlooked. These models grow more accurate over time, learning from each new piece of data added to their training sets. When applied to the Rosetta Stone, AI offers something beyond translation. It offers restoration. Parts of the stone are damaged, worn, or missing entirely, leaving gaps that scholars filled through educated guesses. Modern algorithms can compare these fragments with similar inscriptions from the same period, creating probabilistic reconstructions that hint at what may have been lost. They can even analyze erosion patterns to estimate how the missing sections were originally carved. But the real intrigue lies in what AI has revealed during these comparisons. The machine learning models began identifying inconsistencies among the three scripts, details that suggest the decree might not be the perfect one-to-one translation we've always assumed. These findings have sparked intense debate, challenging centuries of Egyptological certainty and suggesting that this ancient stone still has secrets left to share. The first strange discovery: translation inconsistencies. When AI first analyzed the Rosetta Stone's 3 inscriptions, it noticed subtle differences that human translators had long overlooked. The assumption for centuries had been that the decree was written identically in hieroglyphs, Demotic, and Greek. Yet the algorithms revealed otherwise. Certain terms, phrases, and even symbolic structures varied in ways that hinted at more than linguistic translation. It was as if each version of the decree had been crafted with a distinct audience in mind. In the Greek text, King Ptolemy V appears as a powerful ruler and benefactor, portrayed through the lens of Greek political ideals. The focus lies on administration, reform, and the stability of his reign, concepts familiar to the Greek-speaking elites who governed much of Egypt's bureaucracy. The hieroglyphic version, however, goes beyond politics. It layers divine associations, linking the king with gods like Horus and Ra, emphasizing his sacred right to rule. These elements suggest the Egyptian priests were addressing not just the people, but the gods themselves. Such disparities raise profound questions about the purpose behind this decree. It may have been a deliberate act of political strategy, a tailored message designed to unify a divided society under one ruler. The Greeks and Egyptians coexisted under Ptolemaic rule, yet they viewed kingship through entirely different cultural lenses. By embedding distinct messages in each language, the authors of the decree ensured that every community heard what it needed to maintain harmony and control. These insights have far-reaching implications. For generations, the Rosetta Stone served as the foundation of hieroglyphic translation, the cornerstone upon which our understanding of Egypt's written language was built. If its 3 texts differ more than previously thought, the interpretations of countless other inscriptions may need re-examination. AI's discovery has reignited a centuries-old conversation about how translation shapes truth, and how much of ancient Egypt we truly understand. Hidden layers in the hieroglyphs. The hieroglyphic script carved into the Rosetta Stone has always fascinated scholars for its beauty and complexity. But with AI's deep learning analysis, researchers are beginning to see that hieroglyphs may have operated on multiple levels of meaning simultaneously. Every symbol, direction, and stroke could have carried not only phonetic information, but also layers of symbolism that communicated spiritual or philosophical concepts. Machine learning systems trained on thousands of hieroglyphic texts detected patterns that hint at this multidimensional nature. Some signs functioned as sounds, others as metaphors, and still others as hidden theological symbols recognizable only to trained initiates. The AI found that even artistic variations, such as the direction an animal faced or the curvature of a feather, might subtly alter meaning or reinforce divine associations. This suggests that hieroglyphic writing wasn't merely linguistic, it was visual theology. The algorithms also discovered a structural rhythm within the Rosetta Stone's layout. Certain clusters of hieroglyphs appear to form geometric relationships, creating a visual harmony that mirrors religious balance and cosmic order. This symmetry may have been intentional, reinforcing the sacred nature of the text and its connection to Egyptian cosmology. Such precision reveals that ancient scribes treated language as a sacred craft where aesthetics and meaning were inseparable. These revelations challenge the long-held notion that hieroglyphs were simply a cumbersome early writing system. They appear instead as a deeply coded form of communication, part art, part ritual, part literature. To modern eyes, these carvings tell a royal story. To ancient priests, they likely told a cosmic one. And now, centuries later, AI is giving us a glimpse into the mind of the civilization that created it. The dating controversy. Among the most surprising AI findings is the suggestion that parts of the Rosetta Stone may not have been carved all at once. Linguistic analysis revealed subtle grammatical inconsistencies within the hieroglyphic text, hinting the sections could belong to slightly different linguistic eras. This doesn't necessarily mean the decree itself changed. It suggests that the stone's creation might have spanned multiple stages or involved scribes trained in varying traditions. Language, like culture, evolves constantly. Over Egypt's vast history, the hieroglyphic system shifted through countless stylistic phases. AI detected word choices and grammatical structures in the Rosetta Stone that appeared older or newer than its official date of 196 BC. Some scholars believe this could point to later restorations, recarvings, or the intentional use of archaic language to lend the decree a sense of timeless authority, a practice common in sacred or ceremonial contexts. The possibility of layered authorship or stylistic archaism reframes how we see this artifact. It may not be a single inscription frozen in time, but rather a text shaped by cultural memory, rewritten and reimagined to preserve legitimacy. The priests and artisans who carved it may have been blending the ancient with the contemporary, creating a fusion of sacred language and royal propaganda. This interpretation has stirred heated debate. Traditional Egyptologists argue that I might be misreading stylistic quirks, while others see it as evidence of a more complex editorial history. Either way, the analysis underscores one vital truth. The Rosetta Stone is not just a historical document, but a living testament to how civilizations rework their identities through language. What the stone doesn't say. The Rosetta Stone, as we know it today, is incomplete. Large portions of the top and sides have eroded away or were broken off centuries ago. For generations, scholars filled those gaps with logical reconstructions drawn from similar decrees. But when AI attempted its own reconstruction using predictive modeling, the results revealed something far less straightforward. In several key areas, the algorithm proposed entirely new readings that shifted the meaning of entire passages. These reconstructions relied on probability and linguistic correlation. The AI compared the surviving text with hundreds of other inscriptions from the same period, searching for missing grammatical structures and thematic consistency. In many cases, its predictions supported existing scholarly theories. Yet in others, it hinted that the missing text might have carried religious formulas or political nuances that traditional reconstructions had overlooked. Particularly intriguing are the gaps in the hieroglyphic section near the top, where ritual invocations to the gods likely appeared. AI's reconstruction suggested an unconventional arrangement of divine names and theological expressions, implying that the priests behind the decree might have been experimenting with or adapting older ritual language. This interpretation paints the Rosetta Stone as more than a political decree. It could represent an act of spiritual negotiation between old Egyptian faith and new Greek rule. Still, AI's predictions remain hypothetical. Without the missing fragments, certainty is impossible. Yet this uncertainty carries its own fascination. It reminds us that history often comes to us fragmented, and every attempt to fill in the blanks, whether through human intuition or machine intelligence, tells us as much about ourselves as it does about the past. The political messages hidden in plain sight. The Rosetta Stone was a masterwork of political communication. Carved during a period of social unrest and cultural duality, it served a clear purpose: to unify Egypt under the reign of a Greek ruler by appealing to both Greek and Egyptian sensibilities. Every line of the decree was written to reinforce the divine legitimacy of Ptolemy V and to reassure both cultures that his authority was sanctioned by gods familiar to them. AI analysis revealed just how finely tuned this messaging was. To Greek readers, the text emphasized the rational and administrative virtues of leadership, justice, generosity, and wisdom. To Egyptian readers, it spoke of divine kingship, linking Ptolemy to the pharaohs of old. Each script was tailored to resonate with its audience's worldview, yet together they formed a seamless narrative of harmony and divine order. This dual design was sophisticated propaganda, centuries ahead of its time. The political implications are immense. The priests who composed this decree were not passive recorders. They were power brokers, crafting a text that preserved their own influence under foreign rule. The fusion of languages and ideologies embedded in the stone represents a delicate balancing act between religion, politics, and identity. AI's pattern recognition merely exposes how deliberate that balance truly was. This understanding gives the Rosetta Stone new depth. It was more than a key to translation. It was a mirror of ancient diplomacy. What once seemed a straightforward royal decree now appears as a carefully engineered tool for maintaining peace and legitimacy in a kingdom divided by culture and tradition. The British Museum controversy. The Rosetta Stone's home in the British Museum has long been a point of contention. To many Egyptians, it represents a symbol of colonial appropriation, a relic taken during a period when Egypt's voice was diminished. The emergence of AI-driven research has reignited calls for repatriation, emphasizing that technological access now allows scholars everywhere to study such artifacts without needing physical possession. The British Museum maintains that the stone remains safest and most widely accessible in London. Yet the new discoveries challenge that position. If our understanding of the Rosetta Stone has been incomplete for over 2 centuries, perhaps the institutions that claimed to safeguard it didn't fully comprehend its significance. Many Egyptian researchers now argue that their deep cultural familiarity could provide insights that Western academics missed for generations. High-resolution 3D imaging and open-access databases are leveling the playing field. Today, anyone with the right software can analyze the Rosetta Stone's carvings in extraordinary detail, whether from Cairo, Paris, or New York. This technological equality calls into question the old notion that artifacts must remain in foreign museums for study. The debate now transcends ownership. It's about intellectual equity and historical justice. As AI continues to reveal new dimensions of the Rosetta Stone, the conversation around where it belongs grows more urgent. Each discovery underscores that the story of Egypt's heritage should be told by those who share its roots. Perhaps one day the stone will return home, not just as an artifact, but as a restored voice of a civilization reasserting its identity. Errors in Champollion's original translation. Jean-François Champollion's decoding of the Rosetta Stone in 1822 remains one of history's greatest intellectual triumphs. Yet 2 centuries later, AI analysis has highlighted small but meaningful inaccuracies in his original translation. These discrepancies don't diminish his genius. They reveal the limitations of early scholarship and the progress of linguistic science over time. Champollion worked with damaged texts, incomplete knowledge, and few comparative examples. Modern algorithms, by contrast, have access to thousands of hieroglyphic inscriptions collected since his death. By comparing linguistic structures across vast datasets, AI systems have identified areas where Champollion's interpretations may have been influenced by Greek or Latin syntax, leading to subtle distortions in meaning. In several passages, I detected that hieroglyphs likely carried metaphorical or theological nuances that his translations rendered too literally. The discovery is significant because Champollion's framework became the standard reference for all future hieroglyphic study. His structural assumptions shaped how entire generations of Egyptologists approach translation. Revisiting these foundations doesn't discredit his work. It refines it. Science progresses by correction, not preservation. AI's contribution here lies in humility. It reminds us that understanding history is an evolving pursuit where even our greatest breakthroughs are stepping stones. Each correction deepens our grasp of ancient minds and brings us closer to hearing their words as they truly intended them to be heard. The religious secrets embedded in the text. Among the most captivating revelations from the AI study are the hidden religious codes within the hieroglyphic text. To the untrained eye, the decree appears purely political, a celebration of royal deeds. But AI's linguistic analysis revealed patterns that align with sacred hymns, temple inscriptions, and mythological narratives, suggesting the priests who composed the decree were embedding layers of ritual meaning beneath the surface. Certain phrases echo the myth of Horus and Set, the eternal struggle between divine order and chaos. Others parallel astronomical alignments tied to Egypt's solar calendar. The algorithms identified these recurring motifs by cross-referencing the Rosetta Stone with other religious texts from the same period. It seems that the decree not only honored Ptolemy V, but also positioned him within the cosmic cycle of divine kingship, a living manifestation of celestial harmony. These findings underscore the theological sophistication of ancient Egypt. The priest's choice of language was deliberate, designed to resonate both politically and spiritually. To a Greek reader, the decree proclaimed authority. To an Egyptian initiate, it declared sacred continuity between heaven and earth. This dual resonance might explain why the stone was crafted with such care. It was meant to serve both the temple and the throne. The implications extend beyond this single artifact. If the Rosetta Stone's language hides coded theology, countless other inscriptions may also carry symbolic depths yet to be revealed. AI is helping us reawaken those layers, peeling back the centuries to glimpse how the ancients saw divinity woven through every word they carved. How AI is changing archaeology forever. The Rosetta Stone's re-examination is part of a wider transformation sweeping through archaeology. Artificial intelligence is redefining how humanity uncovers and interprets its past. Across the globe, algorithms are being used to scan deserts, jungles, and archives, revealing lost temples, buried cities, and patterns of migration invisible to traditional methods. In many ways, AI is becoming the new pickaxe, digging not through soil, but through data. Satellite imagery analyzed by neural networks has uncovered entire ancient settlements in Egypt, Peru, and Southeast Asia. Machine vision is restoring fragmented pottery, identifying pigments, and reconstructing statues. In linguistics, AI is mapping the evolution of words across millennia, connecting languages that share forgotten ancestors. Each advancement accelerates our ability to see history as an interconnected web rather than isolated discoveries. Yet these technological leaps also come with ethical responsibilities. The nations whose heritage fuels these discoveries must have equal access to the tools and data that interpret it. digital colonialism, where technology-rich institutions control ancient knowledge, poses a modern challenge. True progress means empowering local scholars to use these innovations for their own cultural narratives. In essence, AI is reshaping how we study history, transforming archaeology from a field rooted in excavation to one driven by collaboration and computation. The Rosetta Stone may be an ancient artifact, but it now stands at the forefront of this technological revolution, linking past and future in ways its creators could never have imagined. The debate, raging in academic circles. If you think scientists always calmly discuss evidence and reach rational conclusions, you've clearly never seen archaeologists argue about AI findings at a conference. The academic response to the Rosetta Stone revelations has been intensely polarized, with passionate advocates and fierce skeptics squaring off in what's become one of the most heated debates in Egyptology in recent memory. On one side, you have the tech-enthusiastic researchers who believe AI is revealing truths that human bias and limited pattern recognition abilities have kept hidden for centuries. They point to the consistency of the AI findings across multiple different algorithms and the way the discoveries align with subtle clues that some scholars had noticed but couldn't fully prove. For them, this is a vindication of computational approaches to ancient studies and proof that we need to fundamentally rethink our confidence in traditional translations. On the other side, you have experienced Egyptologists who've spent their entire careers studying ancient Egyptian language and culture. Many of them are deeply skeptical of what they see as overconfident claims based on statistical analysis divorced from cultural and historical context. They argue that AI systems can identify correlations but can't truly understand meaning, and that ancient texts require interpretive nuance that algorithms simply can't provide. Some have accused the AI researchers of sensationalizing minor variations to generate headlines and research funding. The generational divide in this debate is noticeable. Younger scholars who grew up with computers and are comfortable with computational methods tend to be more receptive to AI findings, while older academics who built their careers on traditional philological methods are more skeptical. But it's not a simple young versus old split. There are senior scholars enthusiastically embracing AI and young researchers warning against over-reliance on algorithms. What makes this debate particularly intense is that it's not just about the Rosetta Stone. It's about the future of the entire field. If AI findings are taken seriously, it means potentially revisiting thousands of translations and rewriting significant portions of what we thought we knew about ancient Egypt. That's not just an academic headache. It's a fundamental challenge to the authority and expertise of an entire scholarly discipline. Nobody likes being told that their life's work might have been based on incomplete or flawed foundations. The debate has also spilled into public consciousness in ways that make many academics uncomfortable. Popular science articles, YouTube videos, and social media posts have amplified the most sensational interpretations of the AI findings, sometimes divorcing them from important caveats and uncertainties. This has created a situation where the public might be getting a distorted view of what the AI actually revealed, while scholars feel pressure to either defend traditional interpretations or risk seeming like they're resistant to progress. What this means for other ancient texts. If the AI findings about the Rosetta Stone hold up under continued scrutiny, the implications extend far beyond this single artifact. The Rosetta Stone has been the foundational reference point for translating ancient Egyptian for 2 centuries. If our understanding of it needs revision, then potentially every translation built on that foundation might need to be reconsidered. Think about what this means practically. There are thousands of hieroglyphic texts in museums and archaeological sites around the world. Many of them have been translated and interpreted using the framework established by the Rosetta Stone. Medical texts, astronomical records, religious hymns, historical chronicles, love poetry, administrative documents. Our entire picture of ancient Egyptian civilization is constructed from translations that might contain systematic biases or errors inherited from imperfect understanding of the Rosetta Stone. The AI revelations are already inspiring researchers to apply similar analytical techniques to other famous ancient texts. The Dead Sea Scrolls, the Epic of Gilgamesh, Mayan codices, and countless other historically significant documents are being fed into machine learning algorithms to see what new insights might emerge. Early results are promising but also concerning, as AI systems are identifying potential mistranslations and alternative interpretations across multiple ancient languages. One particularly significant area of concern is religious texts. Many modern religious beliefs and practices are based in part on translations of ancient scriptures. If AI analysis reveals that certain key passages have been consistently mistranslated for centuries, the theological implications could be profound. Religious scholars and leaders are watching these developments with a mixture of interest and apprehension, knowing that new translations might challenge long-held doctrinal positions. There's also the question of historical narratives that might need revision. Our understanding of ancient events, political relationships, and cultural practices is derived largely from ancient texts. If those texts have been imperfectly translated, then our historical reconstructions might be built on shaky foundations. Did certain battles happen the way we think they did? Were ancient rulers as benevolent or as tyrannical as our sources suggest? Were trade relationships as extensive as we've believed? Every certainty becomes uncertain when you question the translations that supported it. The conspiracy. Theories emerging. Whenever mainstream academic understanding gets challenged, especially about something as famous as the Rosetta Stone, you can bet that fringe theories and conspiracy thinking aren't far behind. The AI discoveries have unfortunately been seized upon by various groups pushing alternative histories, and it's important to address this because it muddies the waters of legitimate scholarly debate. Some alternative history enthusiasts have interpreted the AI findings as evidence that ancient Egyptians had access to advanced technology or lost knowledge that mainstream archaeology has been suppressing. They point to the multi-layered meanings and sophisticated encoding in the hieroglyphs as proof of some kind of advanced ancient civilization. To be absolutely clear, this is not what the researchers are saying. Complex writing systems don't require anything supernatural. They're the product of human intelligence and cultural development over centuries. Another conspiracy angle that's emerged suggests that scholars have known about these discrepancies for years, but deliberately hid them to protect their academic reputations and institutional authority. This cynical view of how science works ignores the reality that scientists love finding new things and challenging old assumptions. That's literally how you build a successful academic career. The idea of a massive cover-up spanning centuries and involving thousands of independent scholars across different countries and institutions is logistically absurd. There's also been unfortunate conflation of these AI findings with ancient astronaut theories and claims that the pyramids were built by aliens or lost civilizations. Some YouTube channels and websites have mixed legitimate AI research with wild speculation about secret messages hidden in the Rosetta Stone that supposedly reveal advanced astronomical knowledge or predict future events. This kind of sensationalism does real damage by making it harder for people to distinguish between genuine archaeological discoveries and fantasy. The problem with these conspiracy theories isn't just that they're wrong. It's that they poison the well of public discourse about legitimate archaeological questions. When actual scholars point out genuine uncertainties or areas where our understanding needs refinement. Conspiracy theorists jump on that as validation of their wildest claims. This makes researchers reluctant to publicly discuss limitations or uncertainties in their work, which ironically undermines the scientific process of questioning and refinement. What we need to remember is that science works by constantly testing and refining our understanding. Finding out that we misunderstood aspects of the Rosetta Stone isn't evidence of a conspiracy. It's evidence that the scientific process is working exactly as it should. We gather new data, develop new tools, and improve our understanding over time. That's not weakness. That's the strength of the scientific approach. For over 2 centuries, the Rosetta Stone has been our window into Egypt's lost language, a symbol of how knowledge can resurrect the past. But as AI continues to unearth what human eyes missed, it's also revealing how fragile our understanding truly is. Each discovery reminds us that history isn't static, it's alive, waiting to be decoded again. And sometimes, what we uncover reshapes everything we thought we knew about who we are. So, what do you think? Did AI just rewrite history, or simply uncover a truth we weren't ready to face? Share your thoughts below, and stay tuned for more ancient mysteries decoded by modern minds.